or back with chapter 41 talks about, just basically a continuation of chapter 40. It says, can you draw out Leviathan with a fish hook? Of course, Leviathan is of course a crocodile. Like Behemoth, of course, in given chapter 40, Behemoth describes a cow pretty much. Because when you go back to chapter 40, verse 15, it says, behold, Behemoth. Behemoth is describing a cow. Of course, it says, yeah, it's 15. But when you go to 41, it says, can you draw out Leviathan, which is of course a crocodile. It says with a fish hook, or press down his tongue with a cord. Can you put out a rope in his nose, or pierce his jaw with a hook? Will he make any pleas to you? Will he speak to you soft words? Will he make a covenant with you to take him for your servant forever? Will you play with him as with a bird? Or will you put him on a leash for your girls? Will traders bargain over him? Will they divide him up among the merchants? Can you fill his skin with harpoons, or his head with fishing spears? Lay your hands on him. Remember the battle. You will not do it again. Behold, the hope of a man is false. He is laid low even at the sight of him. No one is so fierce that he dares to stir him up. Who then is he who can stand before me? Who has first given to me that I shall repay him? Whatever is under the whole heaven is mine. I will not keep silence concerning his limbs, or his mighty strength of his goodly frame. Who can strip off his outer garment? Who would come near him with a bridle? Who can open the doors of his face? Around his teeth is terror, maybe sharp teeth. His back is made of rows of shields, which that's what crocodiles have, shut up closely as with a seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another. They clasp each other and cannot be separated. His sneezings flash forth light, and his eyes are like the eyelids of a dawn. Out of his mouth go flaming torches. Sparks of fire leap forth. Out of his nostrils comes forth smoke, as from a boiling pot and burning rushes. His breath kindles coals, and a flame comes forth from his mouth. In his neck, it says, in his neck abides strength, and terror dances before him. The folds of his flesh stick together, firmly cast on him and immovable. His heart is hard as stone, hard as a lower millstone. When he raises himself up, the mighty are afraid. At the crashing they are beside themselves. Though the sword reaches him, it does not avail, nor the spear, the dart, or the javelin. He counts iron as straw, and bronze as rotten wood. The arrow cannot make him flee. For him sling stones are turned to stubble. Clubs are counted as stubble. He laughs at the rattle of javelins. His underparts are like sharp potsherds. He spreads himself like a threshing sledge on the mere. He makes the deep boil like a pot. He makes the sea like a pot of ointment. Behind him he leaves a shining wake. One wouldn't think the deep to be white-haired. On earth there is not his like, a creature without fear. He sees everything that is high. He is king over all the sons of pride. So, I know there's a lot of debate on what Behemoth and Leviathan is. I believe from what it's talking about. When you go back to chapter 40, it talks about Behemoth. In verse 15, it says, behold Behemoth, or Bahamut, which I made as I made you. He eats grass like an ox, which cows do. Behold, his strength is in his loins, and his power in the muscles of his belly. He makes his tail stiff like a cedar. His sinews of his thighs are knit together. His bones and tubes of bronze. His limbs are like bars of iron. He is the first of the works of God, and let him who made him bring your sword. For the mountains have yield food for him, where all the wild beasts play. Under the lotus plants he lies in the shelter of the reeds, and in the marsh for his shade the locust trees cover him. Of course, cows lay under trees to rest. The willows of the brooks surround him. Behold, if the river is turbulent, he is not frightened. He is confident. The Jordan rushes against his mouth. Can one take him by his eyes, or pierce his nose with a snare? Verse 41 talks about, I believe it's talking about a crocodile. It says, let's see real quick. Okay, it says, can you dry out Leviathan, which is the crocodile, with a fish hook, pressed down his tongue like a cord? Can you put a rope in his nose, or pierce his jaw with a hook? Will he make many pleas to you? Will he speak to you soft words? Will he make a covenant with you to take him for your servant forever? Will you play with him as with a bird, or will you put him on a leash for your girls? Will traders bargain over him? Will they divide him up among the merchants? Can you fill his skin with harpoons, or his head with fishing spears? Of course, it's hard to do that against a crocodile. Lay your hands on him. Remember the battle. You will not do it again. Behold, the hope of a man is false. He is laid low even at the sight of him. No one is so fierce that he dares to stir him up. Who then is he who can stand before me? He was first given to me, that I should repay him. Whatever is under the whole heaven is mine. I will not keep silence concerning his limbs, or his mighty strength, or his goodly frame. Who can strip off his outer garment? Who would come near him with a bridle? Who can open the doors of his face? Around his teeth is terror. Of course, his teeth are very sharp. The crocodile's teeth is. His back to me is a rows of shield, which it is, shut up closely as with a seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another. They clasp each other and cannot be separated. His sneezing flash forth light, and his eyes are like the eyelids of a dawn. Out of his mouth go flaming torches. Sparks of fire leap forth. Out of his nostrils comes forth smoke, as from a boiling pot and burning ashes. His breath kindles coals, and a flame comes forth from his mouth. In his neck abides strength, and terror dances before him. The folds of his flesh stick together, firmly cast on him and immovable. His heart is hard as stone, hard as a lower millstone. And he raises himself up when he raises himself up, the mighty are afraid. Out of the crashing they are beside themselves. Though the sword reaches him, it does not avail, nor the spear, the dart, or the javelin. Of course, no weapon can really kill it. I mean, a gun can kill a crocodile, but not like a knife. He counts iron as straw, and bronze as rotten wood. Arrow cannot make him flee. For him, sling stones are turned to stubble. Clothes are counted as stubble. He laughs at the rattle of the javelins. His under parts are like sharp potheads, or swords. He spreads himself like a threshing sledge on the mire. He makes the deep boil like a pot. He makes the sea like a pot of ointment. Behind him he lays a shining weight. One would think the deep to be white-haired. On earth there is not like his, a creature without fear. He sees everything that is high. He is king over all the sons of pride. So again, that's describing Behemoth, which describes basically a cow. And then you got Leviathan, which basically describes a crocodile. So that's 41. And I'll be right about 42 here shortly.